But upon seeing his father like this, and yet still seeing his power, I'm not entirely convinced that the Lord of the Ultramarines wouldn't simply just convert himself. Entirely possible. Starting a new great crusade using not only the secular truths of the Imperium, but combining this with the Imperial Creed. Could be damn interesting, not to mention all of the cool shit they could do. Maybe we'll see the return of the grav tank rhinos, maybe we'll see jetpacks, maybe we'll see all kinds of cool shit. And this is of course all assuming that the Emperor doesn't die and becomes a god in his own right, or hell, just fucking steps off the throne and goes like, right, what did I miss? But yeah, I'd actually be all for that. A restarting of the Great Crusade. It would certainly allow Games Workshop a lot more wiggle room when it comes to establishing new events and doing new stuff. And it would give them an absolute, complete and utter free creative license to rename all of their races to something more easily trademarked. Simple as fucking that, isn't it? Games Workshop. Your cunts, you know. However, there is one thing that has me a bit worried, and that is the speed at which Games Workshop is doing this. Remember the end times from Warhammer? It took years. And while this will not be an end times or World of 40k, it will still be a huge
Hi Bob, hi everybody. Yes, it's
radical
me, Jim Johnson, and my good friend and Blood Bowl legend, Bob Biffin, who will be bringing you today's game.
It's gonna be another killer, Jim.
I hope so, Bob, I hope so.
In this classic underdog confrontation, the favorites will surely win.
In and of itself, like there should be campaign rules.
You make picking that ball up look easy.
How the war went. Like basically, what I'm saying is, the fall of Cadia should have been an Imperial Armor series, like the Siege of Rocks. There should be something like that, not this.
Have a nice sleep.
Little baby gets his medicine, and he's having a little nap. That face job is a lot cheaper than a plastic surgeon.
I don't know if he planned it, but it won't do him any harm in the looks department.
Now there's one that won't be coming back in a hurry.
Is going to knock the legs right from under the entire storyline. It's the coming of the Primarchs and all of these apocalyptic events, these huge, galaxy-shaking events, are all kind of just swept under the carpet with something like 10 or 20 pages of fluff. That's going to feel really, really disappointing, you know? And it's really going to put a dampen on the entire event. So I'm hoping that they'll slow down now and take their time. They need to build this up, and honestly, they're doing it a completely wrong way to begin with. These Gathering Storm campaign books, which are terrible fucking campaign books, by the way, just are not the right way. This should be full-on Imperial Armor books, honestly. But maybe the Gathering Storm is just that. Maybe it is just the Gathering Storm.
Do you remember Eldril Sideway?
Oh, of course, he's the only elf freelance who offers his service to every elven race. Oh, he's a stranger.
Rumor has it that he's mutated.
Big
Stranger still.
campaign books, a la Forge World books and the Imperial Armor stuff, that describes in detail what is happening, where everything is going, and how fucking awesome it is. I mean, just the resurgence of someone like Gilliman should come with his entire own storyline, you know? There should be books written about this. I mean, just think about it. How awesome would it not be?
That player's taken away on his treasure.
But still alive, I can see the drool.
How this happened. How the Lord of Empire came back to life, and just how he struggles with reality. How much the galaxy has changed in the last 10,000 years, and how he's trying to wrap his mind around this. Because think about it, everything that he knew is gone. The Imperium as he knew it is gone. The Legions as he knew them are gone. Because again, I'm pretty damn sure that the Codex Estantes that wanted to split them up into chapters were not going to be as extreme as they were eventually implemented. Gilliman himself, I suspect, argued for the creations of the chapters out of necessity, something that had to be done while the threat of the Chaos Legions was still at large. However, I'm sure he would himself have figured that it would be
in the
far
face,
better
and then followed by a clean uppercut. Well done!
Strike forces once the primary threat of chaos had been recognized and dealt with. And the reason for this is that in the original Codex Astartes,
Poetry in
there's no
motion.
mention
What we'd
of
like
the
to
chapter
see
organization
more often.
being
beer
absolute
swilling, spear
requirement.
brandishing,
It
yeti
sounds like
wrestling
a
lunatics.
necessary and
And that's
time
just the
measure,
apothecaries,
as far as I'm
Jim.
concerned, rather than something that should be permanent. There is so much room for really good stories and really good character development here, and a lot of the plot moving forward in meaningful ways, and I'm just hoping that GW isn't going to rush this, because this is an epic storyline. If they're going to do it at anything like what I'm imagining, this is going to be a huge thing. This is going to be the Horus Heresy all over again. Just as big, just as awesome. In fact, I would very much like to see another big book series along the lines of the Horus Heresy and the Beast Rises, describing the events of the collapse and then the eventual resurgence of the
Incoming!
I feel like
Well,
that would be
it is a violent
much
sport.
better way of communicating all this instead of these half-assed gathering stormbooks, which I really don't like. I mean, when it was just the fall of Cadia, it was a disappointment. It was a bit of a kick in the balls, but I could kind of get over it. But if they're going to do all of these earth-shattering...
I think she's singing him a lullaby.
Tone it down.
This is good sport.
It's going to be so sad. Look at all of the cool shit you could do, Game Central. Surely you can't be planning on throwing all of this away with a couple of half-assed books. Come on, you can't possibly plan on doing it. This is why I kind of wanted to wait before we'd seen all of the Gathering Stone book before I talked about this, but it seems like they're moving ahead a little bit.
Did you hear about the Evil
quickly,
Gits?
and
The team that is made up of a mix
where
of
they're
evil
going
players?
with
Their
this.
fans
Because
won the most
again,
evil supporters of the year
the
award.
resurgence of a
Fully
pilot
merited from what
isn't
I've
something
seen.
where you just go like, oh yeah, no, we're just going to drop a model and then we're going to move on.
She's got the
With
ball!
Magnus, that was okay because we already
The ball
know he's
changes
alive.
hands.
He's just
That'll do
a
nicely.
Primarch, you know, he could pop out of the Eye of Terror and do his stuff. But the resurrection of someone like Gilliman, I really feel like that should have a storyline attached to it, you know? And it should be something epic. This should be something awesome. Because he deserves it. It's a goddamn Primarch.
Oh, he swatted him like a fly.
More like punched him square in the face, like a fly.
Maybe the lion will finally stop whinging about all of the sand in his vagina and leave the rock. Maybe Russ will wander out of the Eye of Terror and go like, what the fuck is... What the hell happened while I was gone? You're all wolfing now. Jesus. I was in the Eye of Terror for 10,000 years and we didn't go this fucking far. You're telling
Well,
me
that's
you
one with a
bastards
good reason
followed
to go
couple
see the
decades?
apothecary.
What the fuck is wrong
Yep, looks like he's gonna need a good one.
I think the phrase, what the fuck is wrong with you, is going to be used a lot in any series. Just imagine Gilliman meeting the lion going, "You
That
hit on a
hurt.
rock
Good
for
job his
10,000
nose got in the
years
way."
and you
Yeah,
trundled
otherwise
around
he'd have
you?
got it full in the
What's
face.
wrong with you?"
That's got rid of his opponent with ease.
Go, go, go!
Because you practice the other team.
Go, go, go!
Potentially beheaded. At the moment, I don't think there's enough information to really be overly worried or overly optimistic. It's all going to be dependent on whether or not Games Workshop will give this storyline the time it so desperately needs to grow organically and in a way that makes sense and does the universe justice. Because that's the most important thing. One of my primary arguments about the end times isn't so much the fact that they killed off Warhammer, it is the fact that they did it in such an undignified way. That is an example of them taking their time,
The players are
but
ready.
still not figuring out an actual ending, and eventually just blowing up the universe in an explosion.
I've heard of teams that have simply disappeared after being abandoned by the sports.
Let's say that some teams who haven't won a match for several years have been tied up by their fans and thrown into rubbish containers.
It's the only way to end a downward spiral.
The end storyline of that shit sounds like it was written by a 12-year-old high on shrooms. But you know what they say, lightning never strikes the same spot twice.
You can't
Let's
say
hope
much about that.
GW ain't
Full-blooded
fucking
but
up
perfectly
the
legal.
same
That's
way
what happens when a
twice.
pro crosses an
So,
amateur.
Yes.
for the moment, I am
Splodge.
cautiously optimistic. I'm going to be waiting to see what Games Workshop really wants to do with this before I really start leaping to conclusions, which is, for example, why I haven't talked about the whole Eldar rebranding stuff, because I don't feel like it's quite ready to be talked about yet. I will, of course, be looking at the next
Yes,
Stormbooks,
it's a
however,
great
so,
spectacle,
forward to
Bob.
that. Until then, though, I have been Arch. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you all again soon. Have a good day.
As soon as he throws his first punch.
We know the opponent will be out for lunch.
Greetings and salutations, friends. So, let's talk
This
a little
player
bit about
has opened the slapping box and gives rather generously.
Let's see if we can figure out what the fuck.
Nice left punch, right on the nose.
Sure was, Jim. It's broken now. Corruption so widespread that the Referees Guild has set out rules concerning where, when, and how one can accept the prize.
Under an agreement signed last season, the clubs are not allowed to offer less than the going rate.
For some reason, but we start off with a little of an odd thing, which kind of sets the tone for the entirety of the book. A ridiculously vague hint of the Saint Celestine saying that she was part of
You
a
think you'll be able to get up after that blow, Jim?
Oh, yes. He's not the sort to stay down.
Stunned.
What
That
an
has to
idiot.
have something to do with Biggie himself. However, grand design unfulfilled. Was the Emperor trying to make himself a
Brilliant sidekick to the face.
ghost winner
Let's see
at some
that
point?
again in slow motion.
Beyond him, but still. Now, what is kind of interesting though is there's a little cryptic.
This player was really strong. Do you think they have some troll blood in them?
Could be. Or maybe his opponent shouldn't speak that way about the family.
And yeah, this is a fucking stretch and a half, but
The Tech can get their game going
maybe
again.
she was supposed to be a Primarch. Maybe she was
Disastrous pass.
Yeah, Jim, he made things
I
difficult
have
for himself.
virtually nothing to base that on.
First half is over already.
It could be.
Yep, they're heading back to the changing rooms.
Well, see you in a few minutes, boys.
This is one of many little hints throughout these books that are so remarkably obscure and just completely, utterly fucking devoid of context that it's virtually impossible to make an educated guess from it. So yeah, maybe, or she could just be talking about how she and Biggie had this whole fucking wedding trip planned out, but they didn't get to go because Horace decided to break all of the
Second half is about to start.
Yeah, now's the time to sneak off to the bar to grab a couple of pints of troll juice.
Too late, Jim. The supporters drank it dry.
We should keep an eye out for action in the stands there. This player was really strong. Do you think they have some troll blood in them?
Could be. Or maybe his opponent shouldn't speak that way about the family.
Did you know that the Berserkers are selected from the thirstiest Norse players?
All over
Nope.
again.
Yes, the head coach tells the team that they have run out of beer, and the one that enters the most furious rage becomes the new Team Berserker.
Hopefully for the
They
last
run out
time.
of beer in Norse teams?
Of course not, Bob. The head coaches just tell the players that if they're low on
It
Berserkers.
looks like even a tiny bit of a threat on the grand scheme of things. So far they have been failing rather horribly, but I'm sure they'll continue trying. The newest excuse is that he was aiming at a collection of pylons created by the Necrons all along, blowing them up from orbit, thereby weakening their hold upon the Eye of Terror. Except, of course, it did absolutely no such thing until the magical MacGuffin on Cadia itself exploded. And to be honest, it seems like a bit of a stretch to call randomly bombarding dead rocks in space a master plan. Especially considering that all of this still hinges upon the simple fucking fact that Abigail could simply just have sailed past
You're telling me it'll take a while to
God
get
knows
over.
how many fucking occasions. Yet Disappointment on the Armless is a remarkably cooperative movie villain who has decided to land his forces and bleed them half to death on Cadia at every single opportunity. Appledon, you shameful little pig. If it wasn't for the fact that Abaddon has supposedly burned his dream father Horus's corpse,
Very nice.
The opponent looks like he's fighting himself. Great
such a
pass.
velocity that if he managed to stick a generator to him, the sheer rotational energy could probably
ball went
create
straight into his
electricity to
hands.
power
The
entirety
opponent
of the
is
fucking
left just
thing.
flapping around.
To be honest, the best move in chaos at this point would be
Another
to
point
press
put up on the
Abaddon
scoreboard.
with
We'll see if
anyone
the opposition has got an answer.
Just taking him 10 games to destroy a single single planet with the full backing of the Chaos Pantheon. I am pretty damn sure that somewhere in the Chaos Fleet there is a lobotomized servitor that could have done it faster. Was enough about Crapidon, let's move on to this. We are introduced to several more characters, one of them being Trazyn the Eternal, who wants to collect humans and other living creatures for his voyeur fetish. He has decided that he's going to help Cadia because of, well, plot reasons primarily, but
some wood elves have recently put in an official request that the long past be declared an art form.
Well, it's an art form they definitely
He's
mastered.
a good guy now because he says so. But at least Trazyn has some sort of motivation. Firstly, it's just interesting.
No,
it's good
another
enough
one who
for him,
actually
and
plays the
secondly,
ball.
he doesn't want Chaos to win, so I can kind of see the reasoning behind this. Bielakor opening a goddamn warp rift on the fucking Phalanx of all places, on the other hand, now that I have a damn hard time swallowing. I mean, never mind the simple fact that the Phalanx is one of the most heavily warded places in the goddamn galaxy, but it's also just the idea that he would decide to appear on the Phalanx. And his plan is he's going to take over the Phalanx and use it to bombard Terra.
What
if you can open up
finesse,
a warp
what
rift
style,
on the
what
Phalanx,
perfection.
What a hammer blow!
places in the goddamn galaxy, what precisely is stopping him from opening a warp rift in the Emperor's own throne room, or just somewhere on Terra, you know, warp rift a gigantic fuck-off bomb into the Imperial Palace or something. And yes, I know, the warp has always been a bit of a MacGuffin thing in 40k these days, with it being able to do whatever the fuck it wants to do, and teleporting Bielakor and a bunch of Iron Warriors who decided, you know what, this one-way trip to Terra sounds like a damn good idea, because even if they do manage to take over the Phalanx somehow, and conveniently all of the Imperial Fist were out on a field trip, even if they did that, now where the hell are they going to go? They're surrounded by Battlefleet Solar.
In the early days, the war dancers were considered more like sheer real play.
The match between the Athanor Avengers and Auckland Raiders changed all that. The Orcs, who were tired of the rituals, rushed to the Elven war dancers, who without batting an eyelid kept on dancing, but still managed to send 7 Raider players to hospital.
And since then, every team wants one.
Plan just seems like a really bad plan. Primarily
And don't
made
forget, children,
to
don't
somehow
try
get
and do
the
this at
Phalanx to
home.
appear
Remember,
Acadian.
these are
And-
seasoned professionals.
God,
Well,
yes.
one of them is
The
anyway.
Imperial Fist obviously beat Bielakor's tiny little bitch ass because he can never get anything right. If Failbadon is a hopeless case, Bielakor is the little bitch that even Failbadon can beat and feel good about himself. So now the Imperial Fist, along with the Legion of the Damned, cool to see those guys by the way, they're one of my favourite little pieces of obscure fluffiness because they're essentially demons of the Emperor, and that is fucking cool. Anyways, the fiery Astartes pop onto the Phalanx, rape whatever is left of the demons, and send Bielakor screaming back into the wall with a brand new butt ache, before deciding to head to Cadia.
Well, that'll keep him
Now,
quiet for a while.
They enter
Yeah, he's
into
just
a
stuck,
warp
not
blind
dead.
near Terra, and they're going to appear over Cadia in less than a week. And yeah, sure, the warp is capricious, no doubt about that, but that was damn bloody quick. If you can travel from Terra to Cadia in a week, where the fuck isn't Battlefleet Solar raping Abaddon's tiny little tushy-wushy right about now? I mean, what goddamn sense does this make? Okay, the
Berserkers,
Battlefleet is pretty
Yetis,
goddamn cool,
Ulfwerders.
but it was
I
crippled
bet you
by
like this,
internal
Jim.
treachery
Of course,
and all
Bob.
kinds
To
of
be
nonsense
brutally
that
honest,
Abaddon
I always enjoy a
fired
pack of
upon.
raving
Okay,
maniacs.
MacGuffin
Spoken as a
nonsense, but
true
fine.
Blood Bowl fan,
However,
Jim.
what is the point of having the Battlefleet Solar just wait in Terra? It's like, oh, it's a strategic reserve. Yeah, it's a strategic reserve whose main force has already been defeated. This is the time you send in the reserves, because what is the fucking point in letting Cadia fall right now? You could help it.
Yep, upside down. That's one way to look at things.
To aid Cadia and make use of what remains of its fleet, the Adeptus Astartes contingent, the bloody Phalanx who decided to wander off in that direction for some mysterious reason, not to mention the planetary weapons. Why would you not help Cadia at this point? And it's
It
not like
seems this
Abaddon could
player
just
does
go like,
all
oh,
the
fine,
talking with the
Solar's
fifth.
here, I'll
And they
just
clearly
go
know
walk
how to get
town."
heard.
No, he's engaged in a planetary assault. Best case scenario, he is weeks away from a jump point. The Battlefleet Solar would have plenty of times to get back ahead of Abaddon, And that's assuming that they even let him get away in the first place. This all just sounds rather bloody silly to me, but oh well. So, returning to Cadia. Abaddon has with him one of the Blackstone fortresses, the most useless goddamn things ever. They are literally the Death Stars of the 40k universe. They have achieved
He's knocked them
precisely
senseless.
this.
You're assuming then that he
And this
had
is
something
despite the
between
fact
his
that they've been
ears to
built up
begin.
as these things
Nice
are
move.
powerful
This is really
fangs.
agile. The
Not only
opponent
do
couldn't
they
do
have
anything.
ridiculous amounts of anti-
Did you know that
weapons,
well in
they
advance
can
of the
also
match, the
gather
berserkers will often start
planets and
quaking
solar
flagons of
systems
ale
in
before
single
whipping
planets.
themselves into a frenzy.
That can sure be useful, Bob. We should try that someday.
We better leave that to the professionals, Jed. You already look a little pale.
This is one of the few
Get it?
cases in which
Pale.
Star Wars actually probably did a better
never
job.
mind.
Even that ridiculously useless
Good
Death
hand
Star
skills.
planet
The
from
ball is
Rottenham,
gone.
who must have taken goddamn decades of constructions and incredibly vast
Right
amounts
on
of
the spot.
resources.
He'll have a bit of trouble blowing his nose from now on.
Dick, it destroyed the
Right in the
Republic,
face.
so
The
far
other guy couldn't dodge that
nothing
one.
in Star Wars. Or it's just a bunch of old dudes on the planet going, yeah, should we declare war on the Empire? Nah, we'll leave it up to the goddamn rebels. They seem to be doing a remarkably good job so far, despite the fact that they haven't gotten any fucking backing or military aid. Okay, just chill
It
out.
seems this
Fucking
player does
chill.
all the talking with the fists.
And they clearly
This
know how to get
Blackstone
hurt.
fortress is capable of destroying entire planets, and Abaddon's original plan is apparently to just wander up the tower and destroy the planet. Alright. So far so good. Abaddon is actually using his
I
brain
don't know if we
for once,
really
but
like that
unfortunately,
uppercut.
the
He may
Imperium
not have
has
liked it,
discovered
but he
a
certainly
MacGuffin
ate
capable
it.
of defending against the Blackstone fortress.
That reminds me of when I took Griff to bits in the 91 final against Rottenham.
Oh yeah, you kneecapped him.
However, one of the pylons shielding Cadia against the Blackstone weapons has been damaged, and there's no way of repairing it in time except Neil will pop in and repair it instantaneously because
Two-footed tackle from the rear.
Beautifully
damage
executed.
serves only to inform the reader that
I bet
there
those
are
Yetis don't like playing the
That's
Dungeon Bowl, Bob.
That's right, Jim. Some Norse teams downright refuse to play in that cup, claiming it to be inhumane.
That's strange, Bob. Didn't figure any Norse team to be humane.
The ball was in his hands.
It's not making a whole lot of sense at this point. But the good news is that now it finally gets good. The battle raging across Cadia is
And
written
a
in
game as
very,
physical as
very
this, the
nice
player is
way.
really in the
They're
right
really
place.
cool. They
Exactly,
sound
it's
awesome.
really
I
ugly.
would like to see more details as they essentially just focus entirely around a smaller portion of Cadia,
I think she's
ignoring
singing him a
everything else.
lullaby.
And yeah, there's some silly shit like Creed himself, the High Commander of the Imperial Forces in Cadia, standing 5 meters behind the battle lines.
Ouch! That punch knocked his teeth down his throat.
Yes, Jim, that's ever a nice sight.
But hey, all in all, it's written pretty damn nice. And it all leads up to various MacGuffins, and this is really
I
the
don't know if we really like that
Things just
uppercut.
kind of
May not have liked it, but he certainly ate it.
Trazyn shows up and tells Kroll, who has been discovering the secrets of the pylons, how to fix it.
And don't forget,
Apparently,
children,
how to turn
don't
the
try and
pylon
do this at
Cadia into
home.
a
Remember,
weapon to try
these
and
are
close the
seasoned
Iron Terror
professionals.
Well,
In
one of
fact,
them is
he wants
anyway.
to
You
fire
can't
this
say
weapon,
much about that.
And the Iron
Full-blooded,
Terror
but
shrinks
perfectly legal.
drastically over a very, very short span of time. In fact, it sounds like it took minutes at most. However, Kroll's very, very ambitious plan to close the Eye of Terror for all eternity doesn't really work. He gets stopped by Abaddon's Black Legion, who, for some mysterious
There was a
reason,
time when
knew
the
what he
colleges
was
of
doing.
magic hadn't
You
yet
could
ruled
argue
on
that
limiting
Abaddon was
wizard
simply
assistants
heading
to
for the last
teams.
pylon,
Who could
but
forget the
it
infamous
seems like a complete and utter
2472
waste of
Quagmire
resources.
incident, when
The
rampant
pylons themselves are used in
spellcasting
a very
caused the
strategic
entire
important
Bright
position,
Crusader
and they are in
Stadium
by
to sink
far the
into the
most
earth.
Nobody could
well-defended
forget that.
positions.
People were blinded for
And
miles
Abaddon
around the
has no
stadium.
reason to suspect that the pylons could be used as a weapon against the Eye of Terror, so it seems kind of odd why he would focus on going there instead of taking care of the resistance around Cadia and then focusing on taking out
I have never seen such a defeat.
You don't remember when the Halfling reserve team was forced to play against the Chaos All-Star?
Oh, yes, that was fun.
directly for the most heavily defended part of Cadia for no apparent goddamn reason. Again, there's little strategic value in
From
taking
the
out the
outset,
pylons.
the opposition
Well,
didn't let them
that
settle
might as
into
well
their
happen
game,
afterwards.
and they just
Because
continued to
other odd
up
thing
the
is,
pressure.
he
A
also
major
has a plan to
disappointment
destroy
after a match
Cambridge.
in which
For
they
some
had the
reason,
majority
the
of
Waystone forces
possession.
that mere moments
So
ago
many
had
missed
collapsed
chances,
the
which
sky
just
by the
goes to
phalanx,
show
just
that
kind
the
of
ball is not
appeared
the
in
key
near
to
space
the
orbit
game.
above
They would have been better
Cambridge.
off to take care of the opposition.
Not a very adventurous lot.
Just
They
annihilated
spent
in
most
mere
of the match
moments
in
and
their
then
own
decided to
half.
hang out
What?
over the
Not
pylon.
one player?
Another
Don't
reason why
let
Abaddon
me
probably should have
express
headed
just a
towards that, because he'd have to fly right over the
teensy
guns.
bit of
Surprise!
Well, if it's true, it will definitely go down in the annals.
Anyways,
Did you
Abaddon
see a
had
referee
beautiful
out there
plan
today?
for his
I
Waystone
don't
forces
know.
getting
I
blown up by a
definitely
random
didn't see any
space launcher
cards.
that just happened to jumble by in the battle. Anyways, he had planned for it to get destroyed and had left several tech priests on board with instructions to ram the remains of the Blackstone Fortress indicated itself. How the hell any of the engines in that thing have remained intact enough, not to mention powered enough to do that, God only bloody knows, but hey. So Abaddon had already planned to destroy the planet, and yet now he decides to put himself in danger for no apparent reason. And to put himself in the absolute greatest amount of danger he possibly fucking could. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but hey,